Hey guys, how you doing? It is way late. I know it. It says morning check-in as the title of the video, and it ain't the morning anymore. My day was different today. I was out of pocket all day. I well, I told somebody that I would help them build a garage today, and so their property is off grid. So I'm gone. Like I left at 7:20, 7:30 this morning, and I was gone. Now here's the great news. The great news is it's like a miracle. I woke up yesterday and I could open my eye and I could see light in front of me and not freak out. I mean, does it still look a little lazy and a little swollen? Yeah, but I can see. Reading print on the screen is still a little difficult, reading things on the computer, but light coming in is not, crippling me. So that was yesterday. So I felt so much better. So I was able to get some more things done. And as you know, because I do these daily meetings with you guys now, and I let you know what's going on, and I talk about all these things. But yesterday, and I made a live yesterday near the end of the day, like totally impromptu. Here's the deal. I was coaching a guy for like the last 2 months, and it was a voluntary coaching assignment. I reached out to this guy on LinkedIn, and I felt from talking to him that I did not want to disconnect from him. I wanted to lean in. I don't know why I wanted to lean in, but I wanted to lean into this individual. And I gave him 180 days of, professional development inside the Mañana Academy. And I just got to say, when I first spoke to him, when I first had a Zoom meeting with him, I felt I had to help. So that's what I did. That's John Maxwell said the number one thing about being a leader is adding value to people. And so in this particular instance, I felt, well, this is the value that I can add to this individual now. And so I gave him access to the training, and I gave him a few Zoom calls to check in, and things had happened. I mean, he had lost his job. He was living by himself in isolation in a country he was not born in. He was nervous about finances. He was nervous about employment. Then his mom passed away, and then he couldn't see family, couldn't connect with family, couldn't even go back to, put his mother to rest. And I kept thinking, he's spiraling down, and it's not what can I do, but it's how can I help him do, right? He needs to do it. And it was so amazing yesterday. He got a job last week. He's back to, doing something in his field. He can stay in the apartment that he loves in Belgium. And I don't want to mention him by name because I want to respect him in case he's watching these, or people that he knows are watching these. But what he said really touched me. And he said, well, Kurt, I feel I said, you're doing so much. I said, you're smiling from ear to ear. You are so much better today than you were 2 months ago when we first met. And he said, well, it's because you're a good coach. And what? I didn't put the pieces together right away. And I didn't want to take credit for it. I mean, he did it, right? He got a job. He improved his situation. But he said, no. He said, he goes, I can tell you're really smart, and the stuff on your website is very smart. And I read the content and I listened to the content, and I know that what I saw as obstacles were really opportunities, and I had to find the opportunities within the obstacles. He says, and now the best is in front of me. I know that I was in a bad spot, but now the best is in front of me, And he said, you were patient. And that's weird because people don't think of me as being patient, but he said, I can tell you're really smart, but you weren't pushy. You were patient, and you listened to me, and you helped me find what I needed to find. And it was a lot. So it was a lot for me to deal with because, that is probably the phone call that every coach wants to hear. That's how many times do I make content where I doubt myself? How many times do I put up a new course and go, that's really not as good as it could have been? How many times do I write an article and go, man, I rushed that one, But I also listen to people like Gary V that's like, hey, done is better than perfect, right? If I keep second guessing my content and I stop making the content, how many people miss out? And this individual is somebody that could have missed out if I second guessed myself too much. And so it was inspirational. So that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday was pretty amazing for me in that regard. And it's something that I wanted to share because I did something else yesterday. man, I've been launching stuff, dude. I've been launching stuff like poosh, 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 but I'm feeling like it's something that has to happen. So I'm part of Jake Ballantyne's Speakers, Authors, and Coaches organization, Speakers, Authors, and Coaches Network, right? SACN. And it's a great group, great people, awesome things. But here's what I notice when I talk to people, when I associate with people in that group, they're speakers. And man, their livelihood got turned on its head 3 months ago when COVID broke out, right? People were trying to book all the live events they could, and then there was no live events to book, and things were getting canceled, right? And their way of making a living gone. And to me, this is not over. Like, what's going to happen when the next virus comes out in 2 years or 3 years, right? We're going to keep, we've already set a precedent for closing things down. So I'm like, look, I've been online for a long time. I might not be the most successful public speaker in the world, but I've been online and I've put other people online and I've built people products online for a long time. And so I thought it would be good if I were to leverage that skill set to help a speakers group. And so I'm calling it the Hybrid Speakers Network. And so what this Hybrid Speakers Network does is it's a hybrid speakers coaches network. Is if you look that up on Facebook, you'll see a Facebook page. If you look it up on LinkedIn, you'll find a LinkedIn page. It's brand new. There's nobody in it yet. You could be the first. Actually, you'd be the second one because Dom Frosch, one of the most awesome people in the world, is in first. But my idea here is I want to help people that are speakers and coaches and trainers. I want to help them get some product online, build a backbone of content online through training and membership websites so that they can build a foundation and they can raise people to a certain level before they do the public talk or the public speech or the on-site consulting and try to take it up a notch, right? And so, I mean, that's been my theory with Mañana No Mas, and it's working for me. And I thought, let's try and spread that good news and give people an option to grow their business in a way that would be stable, for the next crisis, pandemic, shutdown, protest season. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's been crazy lately. And so by having people that can stay online and still generate revenue and still add value to people, I think that's huge. And so I don't want to take away from Jake Ballantyne's group because he's been a help to me and he's a fantabulous person. But what I want to do is I want to create this hybrid speaker coaches network where we really focus on, hey, that's great. You do online, you do in-person stuff. You're a public speaker, you do coaching. And I want people to be able to share that experience. But I want to make sure we touch on the hybrid portion of that and how you're, kind of like almost like taking Jake Ballantyne's group and Dave Gambrell's group and putting them together, right? Almost like taking digital marketing and putting that together with public speaking. And that to me is what this group could be. And, like I said, I don't want to take away from either one of those gentlemen because I think they're both fantabulous people. But I think there's just this niche that's in between those two messages. And I think I could do a really good job of filling that. So that's the next big thing that I'm excited about, along with the Pod Show Exchange. I love doing podcasts and I love the idea of helping people find qualified talent to put in their pod show. I call it a pod show because, you can have a podcast, you can have a video pod show, you can have all kinds of stuff. But when you have something where you're trying to produce this online content, it's really hard to find engaging, qualified talent to be your guest. And I thought if we could build a website where you have qualified contributors and qualified pod show hosts, kind of get together and exchange information and collaborate, I thought that would be really healthy. So that's what Pod Show Exchange is all about, right? So boom, 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 all these things are popping. The next thing, I said in my newsletter on Tuesday, right? So if you are someone that gets the newsletter, congratulations to you because you're paying attention. But if you don't get the newsletter, go to the Mañana No Mas website right now. Like hit pause, go to mañananomas.com, click on the Academy link, right? Because the link to get into the newsletter is on the Academy. And right there on that homepage, there's going to be a form right in the middle of the page. It says, give me the newsletter. and you put your information there and you get this stuff. You know, I try to put them out like once a week. I try to send them on Tuesdays, but, you know, let you know what's happening for like the next week or so. Right. And so last Tuesday, I put out the newsletter and I said, I got to redo. I did a free webinar on building a learning and membership website. And I did it with one eye. This eye was all cut up and I couldn't see with the light. And I was reviewing the video and it is horrible. You know, I believe the first step of being a good leader is showing up, and I showed up. I scheduled the webinar and I did the webinar. But when I looked at the replay, I wasn't very happy with it. And I like to use content from those for like social media posts and stuff. And so I have to redo it. And I put in the newsletter that the date and time would, you know, be to be announced, because I wanted to make sure that my eye was fully healed and that I'd be able to do it before that would happen, right? Like I want to make sure I could do it before I would say I would do it. And so what I'm leaning towards, and I'm not sure yet, but what I'm leaning towards is doing this on Monday. So if I do this on Monday, I'm going to do it Monday, probably fairly early, like 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. And if I do it at 10, that would be what, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast. And so it's one of those things where I'm thinking motorcycle dealerships, my customers, power sport dealerships, a lot of them are closed on Mondays. And so this would be a good opportunity for people that use me for power sports training to see me train in another arena, to see me do something in the IT field. And then they would get maybe a better feel for how I would lead an online training for their niche, for their specialty. Plus, having an online training site for a dealership is really, really smart if you're onboarding a lot of new personnel. Like say you're a Ride Now, you know, a Ride Now franchise or Mountain Motorsports franchise or a Go AZ franchise. If you're one of those big organizations, those organizations should have an online training portal to onboard their new employees, go over corporate policies and processes, and talk about different ways that they treat the different franchises that they represent. And they could put all that into an online course and track everybody's progress through it. And that's something I would love to build for those people. So I'm going to make that available to them as well and see if we can do that maybe next Monday. So I think that that would be that would be what, 5 days from now. So I think Monday's the 15th. I'd have to double check my calendar, but I think I might be doing this on the 15th. Okay. So we got that, and that. Okay. Next thing, next Tuesday, 3:00 p.m. I'm going to be doing the second level of the 5 levels of leadership from John C. Maxwell, right? We're going to be talking about the permission level of leadership. I already did session 1 where we overviewed all 5 levels. I did session 2 where I went over the first level, which is the positional leadership. Went over that at length on Tuesday. The replay that's going to be available on the Mañana Academy shortly. And then Tuesday coming up at 3:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be doing level 2. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I can't tell you how much fun I had today building a garage with my friend, off grid, no phone, no dinging, no ringing, no nothing. And I rode the Hayabusa and I went super fast today. I don't want to tell you how fast I went because what if someone from law enforcement is watching this video? But I went fast. And I'm not saying there's video, but man, can that bike ride some wheelies. Have yourself a fantastic evening, and I will see you in the morning because I will not be off grid tomorrow, and I'll make sure to do the live with you guys again in the morning and go over some of these details I covered tonight with some more detail tomorrow. I love you guys. Have yourselves a great one, and I will catch up to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.